Zeke Black is in the building, representing that, that old New York, that old New York. Definitely that old New York. This is the cloth that we in. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Queens, man. Definitely shout out to Queens. I seen part 2 of the documentary. It was very educational. It was a lot of good information. We always hear about the negative side of Prince. That's one of the points that I seen in the movie. Shout out to Tuffy, man, because Tuffy showed the positive side of Prince. When he showed the portion of Prince where Prince was a family man. And he had a house in Queens Village. Peace, peace. The positive side of it. Because, we always want to hear the negative. We want to hear about, Zay TV was popular. The Wolves is up. I see the Wolves is up this morning. The Wolves is up. The Wolves is up. I think it was dope. You know what I'm saying? You're chilling. You're definitely chilling, Ivan. The Wolves is up, man. We come to get this old school juice. The documentary, Showtime. It's on Showtime. The Nas Doccu series. We got the Gotti one coming also. And we can't forget about the Spoon one. He has the actual, I believe he's doing the court cases. But be on the lookout for Lucasen. It's supposed to be a Supreme Team summer. And it's good because it's a lot of information brought about South Jamaica, Queens. And part 1 was dope. But I like the part, to definitely salute the Tuffy. Tuffy, you showed the family side of Prince. He was actually a family man. When he came home, he was doing the family thing. And he even mentioned a situation where when he walked outside the crib and dudes tried to line him up, he was just on point. So Prince was smart in these streets. There's a couple of guys that hit me up that is like, why Prince is not talking about the bodies, the homicides, the murders. And the man's trying to come home, man. You know what I'm saying? Some things are just common sense. If you know, you know. Some things are just you know. You don't want to give exact locations because things happen at these locations. So you don't want to be like, yeah, we had this lobby on lock, but then in your case, this lobby has been, there's 10 homicides or 2 stabbings or shootings on your watch. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? So you have to be very smart about locations. If you know about South Jamaica, Queens, you know. If you know, you ask questions. And so where was they at? They was in Baisley? Okay. You know what I'm saying? Where was they running around at? Baisley Park? South Jamaica, Queens is sort of big. Was he on Sufton? Was he on Guy Brewer? Was he on Rockaway? So you have to be very well versed when you're speaking about situations you're trying to get out of. Father using the building, piece of the Wolves. The Wolves is waking up. I know y'all surprised in doing this early morning lives, but the Wolves is waking up. A lot been going on, but before I get to this testimony, I'm gonna read some of the Prince's paperwork from his case. I got some audio, so this is dope. This is gonna be a dope show. In other news, it's alleged that something happened at WAC 100. I've been listening to some of these clubhouses. They asking me about it. Do I care? No. This is what happens when you put yourself in the forefront. And a lot of times, dudes put themselves in situations where they got to come outside and they got to get punched in the mouth. Because these are the situations they put themselves in because this is the image that they portray. So this is what comes with the game that he sells. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? This is what you sell. It's just that when you cross the line, lines get crossed. This is what you sell. This is your package. I'm going to talk crazy about dudes. I'm going to come outside by myself, and I don't need security, and this is this clout thing. So this is what comes with the clout. What comes with clout is somebody's going to catch you, they're going to try to clown you. The whole thing is that you don't have to kill you, we'll just clown you. That's it. We did that back in the day. That's one of the greatest things about being old. We ain't kill everybody. We just clown certain dudes. Like we laugh out, yo, you remember that time you had son and we tripped him up and we threw him on the gate 5 times. We took his jacket. Remember that? You know what I'm saying? And that's you know what I'm saying? I'm just happy they didn't shoot him. You know what I'm saying? Or stab him. Because he just went in his mouth. This is what happens with the game. So with that with whack, that's what comes with. This is just What happens? This is what we did back in the day. Some dudes you just clown them, big mouth dudes. The ones that got big mouths, oh, you gotta get them. You know what I'm saying? Dudes that just run their mouth crazy, that talk crazy, we get them, we embarrass them. We wasn't trying to kill them. The only time a big mouth came in the way is when it came to money. Now, if you owe me some money and you was talking crazy, then they might go, you got to get a little more physical. But if it's not pertaining to dineros, then there's nothing to get physical about. That's just embarrassing. A lot of dudes been embarrassed in their lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Dudes are sitting on the toilet. Some of your greatest killers was sitting on the toilet. Now, that's in that news. In other news, the Bear Bud Light, as crazy as it sounds, they're making a lot of money. They're like in the top one of the top two bears that actually made a profit since the pandemic. So salute to Bud Light, the beer company. Now we're gonna get to the content of all content. Last night they had part 2 of the Supreme Team. I was watching it, me and wifey Southern Belle, and it was enlightening because it was showing us detail about the family side of Prince that we never hear about. He actually went home every night. He actually, I believe, bought a house in Queens Village, or he lived in a nice part of Queens Village. When the police kicked his doors in at 7 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning, they didn't find nothing. But he did beat like 4 bodies. But the feds picked that up, or he threw it to the feds. He's been in jail ever since the day they snatched him outside his house for 30 years. 30 joints. He's been in jail for the last 30. This is what comes with the game. Sorry to say that this is what comes with the game and the consequences of the game. But I'm happy that we're able to hear him speak. Definitely him and Preem. One of the things I like is that they brought up, it was insane to kill a cop. And he was well versed about that. There was nothing cool about killing a cop. When you're in the life of the underworld, you don't kill cops. That's not the end thing. That's not the end game. That's not a game you want to get caught up in. You do not kill cops. So definitely on Prince and Preem's side, killing a cop wasn't good, not just for business, but for everything. You know what I'm saying? That's not good for business. You're on a block that you're getting millions of dollars on. Why would you want to shoot somebody on your corner where you're getting money at? The only cops that cared, I'm gonna be honest with you, when I was growing up, I can't speak black, it's popping Black Cuddy. The only cops that, when I was growing up, that cared, there's some beat walkers, but the beat walkers, housing cops, they might have cared. But homicide and guns and robbery, those are the cops that somewhat cared. If you kill somebody, the homicide deeds is outside. If your family care and they're crying and these cops feel sorry, they dig some dirt up to get a conviction. Those are the cops that care. So you knew on your block, we don't want these 3 elements. Because there wasn't no special units and all that SVU and all that. There was none of that. You know what I'm saying? If there was a drug task force put together, it's because something happened crazy over there and it was in the newspaper and the mayor's just trying to, or the police commissioner's just trying to make it look good for the zip code if the zip code is a decent zip code. Like my zip code is 10029, right? Then you got 10128. Now, for a lot of you guys that don't remember, before they put a precinct on 96, 95th, 94, I believe it was 94th Street between 3rd, between 2nd and 1st, there was the work that I believe was the welfare center. Then they decided to put a police precinct right there. I believe it was on 91st Street between 2nd and 1st. You guys know on the Upper East Side. That's Yorkville, 10128. Something crazy happens. The crime rate started going up over there because people was getting mugged, robbed. That's where the money is at. So they put a police station over there. So you had the 23rd, that went as far as 96th Street, then you had that precinct that was like on 94th Street. So this is what happens when the people that got some money, they begin to care, we got to keep our zip code clean. So, needless to say, it was bad for business. Just killing, that imagine just killing somebody. Somebody, a grandmother getting her, like they create these movies where the drug dealer's the devil and he doesn't care about nothing. I don't know about every block, but I just know that it was bad for business for somebody, like I know on my block, shout out to my man B Black in him. Up to my Brian Shell, Kess, you know what I'm saying? We was block dudes, Little Ray, rest in peace, my man Black, no, this is named the least, the crew, money, whatever the case may be. No, I'm giving them they just do. You wasn't cop. It was cop and go. There was no hanging out. There was no get high in the building. If we caught you, laying on the floor, we were stomping you out allegedly because we separated business from the party. So I could also imagine these blocks that was doing 100,000. They wasn't letting dudes that smoke krills in the middle of the block and post up in front of people's houses and all that. That wasn't happening. That wasn't the end thing. That wasn't how the game went. So killing a cop was one of the most foolish things that could have happened. Foolish thing that could have ever happened. At a time where a man is running for president, and one thing about rich people, people that got money, they love law enforcement. That's one of the greatest things with this, one thing with this country that people love, they guns and law enforcement. People that got money. So even if there's no crime in their neighborhood, they like the fact that there's policing. You killed the cop, this is a lawless game, get him. Even the mob wasn't co-signing those type of moves. The mafia, the great mafia. I remember it was like 87 or 88. Nas made the documentary, Nasty Nas on Showtime. He made this documentary. Gotti got one coming out, and then Spoon got one coming out from Fat Cat Crew. So it's a supreme team whole summer. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Mr. Warbuck says, killed the cop while he was guarding a witness whose crib was firebombed. Let's go into the paperwork. You know what I'm saying? Let's go into the paperwork. Because, you know, I'm happy that we got to hear a normal conversation with Pappy, you know. I mean, we can see the change in Prince's voice. Because a lot of times we go off of what we hear from other people, and people say, you know, just to be in somebody's conversation, you gotta say the inner story. Nah, something I knew when we had guns in the club, we was shooting joints out, we was losing our mind. And that's just not the end thing. He's a changed man, and just hearing his voice and hearing what he's speaking about, he's not glorifying. One thing about these dudes is when they got their first 5 minutes of fame, the only people that's gonna glorify their court bodies are the ones that stood tall and killed something, did their time, came home, and they can talk about that. The only other people that nobody else could really get on here and say, yeah, son, we smoked something, unless they cooperated. Unless they told on somebody, unless they signed, they did something weird where they could actually talk about a homicide that they ain't get charged with. So, for a lot of you people that thought the documentary was going to show a bunch of murder and mayhem so far, it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's not there yet. There's paperwork there's cases on Crown Court TV that touches on when Payne went to jail the last time. That may be in episode 3. But that's some new stuff. That's his new situation. The murder for hire, the 2 bodies, that's new. That's on Crown Court TV. Also, I have it on my platform. Plus, there's a whole bunch of other platforms that have the same information. You can go anywhere. He did it well. And he did it with the man. He put it together with the man who actually did New Jack City. So it was well put together. So at least we understand the history of what they came from. Preem said he had a big homie, Supreme. Yo, my big homie was Preem. I want to be Preem. So whoever brought him home had a high self-esteem. Must have been that's who brought him home. When y'all say bring him home, his enlightener. That's history right there. You know what they said? We went to school. That was the way to be God body. School, not jail. If you listen to Greenhouse Born, when they done the 5% Nation, you was in school. This wasn't a penitentiary yard thing. Not saying that it wasn't moving in jail. This is a street conversation. We got to hear something from the streets, how it all began. So they was God body before the money. They was God body before they was 220. You know what I'm saying? That's historical. They come from an ever Black Power movement. You had the BLAs in Brooklyn. You had the Black Panthers running around Harlem. You had the Black Spades in the Bronx. You had the Tomahawks in Brooklyn. You had, I don't know all these crews. You know what I'm saying? But all these people had a purpose. They all had a purpose. The 7 Crowns. Let's talk about them. Let's talk about what they all derived from the Black Power movement. The Wolves is up. They all had a purpose in the Black Power movement. Something going on in the community. How about in Brownsville, when they wasn't allowing the kids in Brownsville to go to school in Canarsie? Remember when they was out there riding? The kids that want to go, who parents want to send their kids from Brownsville to Canarsie. Those are ways where people have to get together and stand out there together. They come from that generation. So yeah, you grew up in a middle income home, but you don't know the stress and pain that come from their parents that come home every day when they're reminded that they're African Americans or they're Latino or they wherever. This is where they came from. So now y'all sit here and try to shun them, like, why did they sell so much drugs for? Because that sometimes mentally that becomes an option. It becomes an option. An option that we all hate to admit that's how America was for some. That they believed. Something as little as kids being denied access to a school from Canarsie to Brooklyn sounds crazy. Because in 2023, that doesn't happen. 2022 in Canarsie to Brownsville. You know what I'm saying? One thing about the streets is the police is off grounds. When you're in the street, you do not play with law enforcement when you're in the streets. We're not talking about by accident I was mad I decided to kill a cop. We're talking about when you're in the streets. What happened in Staten Island when he tried to buy the guns, I don't know if they knew those guys was police, but that happened to be a robbery going wrong and they killed 2 dudes that happened to be police officers. That happened with their homies. Thank you, Mr. Warbucks. They was always off balance. That's one of the first conversations when you hitting the block. Yo, son, you don't play with the police. You don't play with police. That was always that was just common sense. Deputy Portland Jamaica's in the building. Feed the wolves. Where the wolves at? Let's get some. You know what? The wolves is in the building, man. Shout out to Old Harlem. Old New York, not Old Harlem, Old New York. There's 5 boroughs in New York City. Then we have Long Island. We can't forget Westchester County. We can't forget about Westchester. Yonkers, Mount Vernon, money earning Mount Vernon. Finesse said, Glaze said he was crying in the interrogation room when they asked about the cop killers. I know he was. Oh my God. That was, oh. Because when you know that when you kill individuals that's classified as dirtbags, police don't really care that much because they like, well, we just get a conviction. Oh, this cop out. That's how the 3 to 6 step. Okay, you killed somebody that's in your life, so make them off. You killed somebody that's in your life, so it's not so bad. They just hate when you kill the innocent ones, like a mailman, a cop, fireman, sanitation worker. Then that's when they look at that totally different. Civil servant. You see, you understand that? So this is what your OGs is supposed to tell you. Your OGs is supposed to tell you, yo, son, we don't play with the mailman. We don't play with, no, hold on. We don't argue with the housing guy. We don't kill the man that works for housing. We got to get the housing workers on our payroll so we can stash shit in their closets and all that. We can't be beefing with them niggas because these are civil servants. We kill him, the housing cops is coming. Because at one point in time, we had it's still different divisions, but it was really different divisions in NYPD before Giuliani got in office. You had housing cops, the baby blue cars, remember? The blue and orange cars? That was housing police. You had transit, remember the transit police? You had NYPD blue and whites. Like I told you, they put together a task force. The task force is put together when certain things happen in certain zip codes. To understand what privilege brings. This is a conversation of some guys that came out of Queens. And when we speak of Queens, we speak of, yo, girls from Queens had it easy. Blah, blah, blah. These guys grew up in a generation that dealt with Jim Crow in New York State. Jim Crow values in New York State. We're not even talking about mass incarceration yet. We're talking about Jim Crow values. When a cop kills a 10-year-old because he ran. That's one thing that we spoke about on those corners. Don't run from the police, they're going to kill you. They're going to shoot you in the back. One of the narratives, you know what I'm saying? And she have a baby Sam, you know what I'm saying? Allegedly. You see, you understand what I'm saying? That was not good for business. So I like the fact that he denounced that on the phone. Because everybody claims that it was Supreme Team members that did it and everybody's together. So now this man has to speak. Yo, son, I ain't co-sign that. That was just dumb to kill a cop. But he has to say it because if you ask these other guys that's doing these interviews, Prince is the real one, dude. How you think Prince felt about the cop died? Man, dudes ain't care about the police. That's how dudes is answering these questions because these dudes can't speak for themselves. Now that these dudes are speaking for themselves, thanks to Donald Trump saying the drug charges, you put in some type of leniency for this drug charge you have, you might get a reduction. Oh, I can talk about the drug shit. Yeah, you got me on that. You gotta be well versed. You gotta understand the conversation. That's why he's talking about the drugs. Because he can do that. Because Trump passed the law to first time, whatever they call it. Y'all know what it is. The new law he passed that brought home Bob Lemon. Who else? I think Lou Hobbs and a bunch of other dudes out the New York, out the federal penitentiary. You can talk about that. Preem is up for that right now. That's the law that Preem is up for right now. Google Supreme. You're feeding the wolves. When I say feed the wolves, you're feeding with information. As I speak, you can do your own Googling. Y'all do your own research. That's why, if you notice in this whole documentary, Prince ain't talking about the bodies. Preem ain't talking about the bodies. Now, I'm going to Prince Miller's case. Shoot to the wolves and suck, man. Hold on 1 second. You know, I got certain content on this stuff, so you can check it out. You check out everybody's content on this. Everybody has their look or how they look at things. This is just me and my opinion. I've got some facts up here. You know what I'm saying? And this is actually Prince's one of his appeals. It goes. This is where it goes. This is part of Prince's appeal. This is his appeal. This is his appeal right here. One of his appeals, he put United States versus Miller. This is one of his appeals. You know what I'm saying? The appeal that he had in. Backgrounds. We're going to go into the part of it that says gang structure and operations. This is a lesson right now. The Supreme Team was a street gang organized in the early 1980s in the vicinity of Baisley Park houses in Jamaica, Queens, New York, by a group of teenagers who were members of the 5% Nation, 5%ers, under the leadership of Kenneth Supreme McGriff, with Miller, his nephew, as second in command. The gang concentrated its criminal efforts on the widespread distribution of crack cocaine. At its peak, 1987, the Supreme Team receipts exceeded $200,000 a day. That's a lot of money, $200,000 a day. That's a lot of money. They were seeing close to $1 million a week. That means that they just wasn't in Baisley. See, conversations, things got to make sense. They just wasn't in Baisley projects to make $200,000 a week. You know what I'm saying? After McGriff went to jail in 1987, leadership of the Supreme Team was assumed by Miller, and they actually showed this how when Preem went down, the judge, who was a prosecutor, lived 2 blocks down. And that's so funny. Preem brought this up. Preem caught a Queens case, and they sent this joint to Manhattan. And the judge, the prosecutor he's a judge now, but the prosecutor of the case, the guy who actually, the special prosecutor of the case, was the guy who lived 2 blocks down. You know what I'm saying? So he took that personal, that he heard that there was some drug dealers that had a spot probably 2 blocks down. He actually took the case. He's the reason why Prince caught the first Fed. You know what I'm saying? The first one. The guy was a federal judge now, but back then he was a federal prosecutor. Facts, federal judge. I didn't know that. He was tight. They got a spot down the block. Get him. Because Preem said, yo, my case was a Queens case. They sent this case to Manhattan. Boom. A special tool. Word. Going back to Preem. You know what I'm saying? Against Preem with the joint 87, leadership of the Supreme Team was assumed by Miller. Miller solidified his control by increasing the security force and employing it against rivals and against team members suspected of disloyalty. During 1987 alone, Miller and then incarcerated McGriff ordered at least 8 homicides. The Supreme Team, the narcotics operations used dozens of employees, including layers of drug sellers, to isolate gang leaders from the street level activity. Team members communicated in coded language and numerical systems. What's one of the things that they said in part 1? They wasn't watching videos of Scarface. They was watching videos of The Godfather. They followed that system, The Godfather. They looked at that. That was an inspiration to them. They would watch The Godfather. Everybody had this. Even Nicky Barnes said they had a thing where they would make salad and make prayers, whatever they was doing. Every crew has like an inspiration. Their inspiration was The Godfather, the structuring of that. That's historically here. So they follow a system like the mafia. You know what I'm saying? Just touching on part 1 of it. That's what y'all gotta see. It's a must see. The Showtime special. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. Yes, influenced a lot of crews. They didn't say Scarface, right? I'd have thought Scarface. They said, nah, The Godfather. Well versed. The Supreme Team narcotics operation used dozens of employees, but boom, to thwart law enforcement efforts further, Miller used armed bodyguards and deployed senators with 2-way radios on rooftops. They was very well organized. Very well organized. They had walkie-talkies. They ran their thing like a Fortune 500 company. Like the only time we would see something like that, unless we went to like Uptown, Washington Heights, or we went to like Sugar Hill section, or even some spots. Like I remember I went to my boy was buying some dogs on Park Ave by like 120th not 120, like 118th or 19th Street in Park Ave. You know what I'm talking about. Son that had the pits, the nigga Buddy. That building was like, allegedly was a spot. Dudes had guns and walkie-talkies. So that this is a well-organized situation. If y'all from East Harlem, you know who had the pits. My man was buying a pit from a guy named Buddy. Right there by like 118th from Park and all that. His building was a spot, you know what I'm saying? Definitely peace to Father U, the PTC crew, you know what I'm saying? The yellow top crew, the Upper West Side, you know what I'm saying? Columbus Ave and all that. Can't forget about them. They're in this history. Feed the wolves and feeding the wolves with the information that you need to know. So now y'all watch this documentary, y'all gonna be like, yo, these dudes, this is Prince's appeal, you know what I'm saying? The sophistication of the groups, of the gang's operation enabled it to survive the periodic targeting of various members for prosecution by the New York City Police Department and the Queens District Attorney Office. Because they was moving smartly. They had walkie-talkies, they had lookouts, they was on point. In late 1987, however, while Miller was incarcerated on state charges, his task force of NYPD and Federal Bureau of Investigation FBI officers executed search warrants on a number of Supreme Team storage locations, drug outlets, and residences. Although the gang was tipped off about the raid shortly before it occurred and was able to remove 11 kilos of cocaine and 200,000 from targeted premises, authorities nonetheless seized an array of weapons, narcotics, trade hardware, photographs, documents, and instructional manuals on criminal conduct. Look, instructional manuals on criminal conduct. Another thing, they got photographs. In the state, they may not work. In the feds, it works. The evidence that they get works in the feds. We got photographs. We have documentation, documents. Probably, such and such got to pay $200. They probably had a ledger of who had to pay who. What do we say to this day? Yo, don't put this on IG. Don't do this. This is why, because from things like this that has happened, cases like this that this has happened for. This is 1987. Who'd have thought they could use your photographs against you in court in 1987? They bought the photographs. Trade hardware, paraphernalia, probably scales, triple beams. Back then it was triple beams. They probably had razors, bottles, things you just couldn't you just couldn't throw out the window fast. Documents and instructional manuals on criminal conduct. Most likely who's who, what's what, where the money going to. You know what I'm saying? Following that raid and his own arrest by federal agents, McGriff ordered that the gang operations be shut down. Of course he's going to do that. It's the evidence they had against him. We got the ledger. The ledger says, boom, 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 got to pay you this, such and such, owe you that. We got the pictures. You can't get around this. This is more evidence other than the wiretaps we got. We got this. This is you guys. We got this out the stash house. That's why they always said it's not good to take pictures after a while. I guess things like that was waking some people up. That's why you don't really see a lot of main players, old school cats. You don't see newer pictures of them. You may see them at the club, 125th Street, 42nd Street, 125, taking pictures with the group, the shit behind. But you don't see a lot of personal pictures. Because the personal pictures you and the crew, you know what I'm saying? A lot of those pictures you don't see surfacing. A lot of those pictures are evidence, became evidence in certain individual cases. Now, following the raid and his own arrest by federal agents, McGriff ordered the gang's operation to shut down. When Miller was released from prison in the spring of 1989, he began to rebuild the Supreme Team and regain control of two of its most lucrative retail locations known as spots. The reorganized gang under Miller included Arroyo as the second in command, Hunt as Miller's bodyguard, Ernesto Pinella as the head of security, and Hale Jimenez and Julio Hernandez as security workers. Now, did you notice that now the top echelon of the new Supreme team sound like Latinos? Have y'all noticed that? The new 1989, the new Supreme team, there's like 3-4 people in major positions that's Latino. This is Princess Appeal, and this is what the government has come up with in the backstory. This is an appeal I'm reading. I'm reading an appeal. Prince Miller's appeal. Y'all can Google this and read this. So when y'all speak about gang culture, how did the Puerto Ricans join this gang and Puerto Ricans are like blacks? How was Prince able to bring these Puerto Ricans in and put them in the high positions of this organization? That's the question y'all should know to ask. Look. Morero don't sound like a black African-American name. Pinella doesn't sound like an African-American name. Hernandez don't sound like an African-American name. So why out of anybody he can put around, anybody he puts in his crew, he has his Latinos at the top of his pile? Somebody said, oh, because they can connect with the Spanish connects. That's the theory that came behind that. These dudes was God body. They was gods. One thing about the Latinos is they show a sense of loyalty. He wasn't a fool. You know what I'm saying? The streets was changing. The game was changing. The game was changing. There's this new force. Father, you said it. If you was really outside, you knew Puerto Ricans, Dominicans was deep in the game. It's a fact. And them Colombians and Queens, those Nicaraguans. When you went to like Corona, Queens was going to Colombia. It's not like what it looks like now when you go to Corona, Queens and East Elmwood to see mad Mexicans out there. Exactly. So this theory from when it comes from the jail shit, we talking about street shit. He went and recruited some Latinos to be the head of the new Supreme team. The new one, his Supreme team. That's what it says. This is documented. They got bodies. Now, again, being well versed, thank you, Nas, for making us do our history lesson here. Shout out to Pirate, though, from Fort Greene, Puerto Rican guard body. Let's talk about rap, Supreme, Puerto Rican Supreme from Fort Greene. How does somebody come on a program and say that there was no Latin god bodies? This is 1989. You know what I'm saying? You hear me? Thank you, Nas, for now. A lot of you guys that interviewed a lot of guys that just let them talk. These guys is making us do a history, going to the books. So now when somebody goes, how did they have a bunch of Spanish guys become Bloods? Because that's how we went. We was brothers in the hood. J.E. Moneybags is in the building, man. That's my brother. That's my brother right there. We're feeding the wolves right now. Come on, man. Thank you, because out of all things that's coming out, follow anybody got content on this. But the paperwork, this is the paperwork. This is the case. Jimenez is not, you might have an African-American Victor out there or even an African-American Javier, but you're not going to have an African-American Gonzalez. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That's not going to happen too much. They probably got some out there, but you're not going to see that. Back to the records. Tucker and Conan. Now this is his security ranch. The Latino guards. This is his top flight. This is his security. He felt safer with the Latinos than the African Americans probably. I don't know, but he felt more comfortable with the Latinos than he did with some African Americans in them top slots. The reorganized game, shout out to Bimmy though. Bimmy was, don't say Bimmy was in the mix of that. You know what I'm saying? We can't forget about Bimmy. Shout out to Bimmy, 118th, right? Tucker and Coleman managed retail spots and supervised crews of workers. Longtime gang member David Robinson helped supervise the drug operations and kept records. Raymond Robinson assisted in arranging cocaine purchases, provided security during drug transactions, supervised the processing of cocaine into crack, and delivered crack to cell locations. The Supreme Team began to reclaim its hold on the area drug trade, and it built its gross receipts up to 10,000 a day. Look how the streets is changing from 87 to 89. 87, 200,000 a day. Look how the numbers dropped to 10,000 a day. Do y'all see the streets is changing? They caught something from the beginning. By 89, 10,000 a day is a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of money, 10,000 a day. You're still going to make 70,000. The substances, the substantive narcotics distribution charges against the present defendants focus on the period from December 1989 to March 1990, during which the state was monitoring the gang activities with wiretaps. So the state had wiretaps back then, right? During that period, the Supreme Team conducted its business in the Baisley Park apartment of David Robinson's mother, Tucker Coleman, and David Robinson would deliver to the apartment the monies received at the retail spots they supervised. Miller and the team's primary drug carrier, Trent Morris, would negotiate cocaine deals by telephone with William Graham, a supplier who had a Colombian connections, and Morris and Raymond Robinson would then drive to Graham's apartment with money to purchase kilogram quantities of cocaine. The cocaine would be brought back to the Robinson's apartment, where it was purchased as crack, packaged, and given to Herrero, David Robinson, Tucker, or Coleman, who in turn arranged for its sale by street-level employees. The gang also resumed its use of violence and homicide. The government presented evidence at trial, now all of which resulted in convictions of homicides committed both prior to the Supreme Team 1987 shutdown and its 1989 resurface. Now here this go, right? Here we go. This is Prince's appeal party, people. This is what it says. Let's let you know. United States versus Prince Miller. This is his appeal. You guys can look for this stuff online. This is Prince's appeal party, people. Again, thank you, Nas. Thank you, Nas. This appeal was put in June 20th, 1997. Hit the like button. Where the wolves at? The wolves is up. The wolves is up. The wolves is up. Let's get this wolves up. Let's get the wolves up. The wolves is up. Because we about to get in some juicy conversation right now. Now, you're trying to plug in, get your grandkids. You at the barbershop. It's just quiet up the barbershop. I know a lot of you guys is outside driving. Pull over for this one. Pull over for this one. I need you to pull over, stop, and pay attention. Pay attention. Thank you. Pay attention to this one. This is Prince's appeal party, people. Hold on, let me get back to what I was getting to. This is Prince's appeal. In 1980, the Bolden and Page murders. Remember Bolden? The other Bolden was a part of AZ, the robbery, the house, Bronx. Rest in peace, Joanne and everybody who passed away. The AZ situation. This is Bolden. Let's talk about this right now. Bolden and Page murders. In 1987, the Supreme Team was allied with another drug gang led by Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols that supplied the Supreme Team with powder cocaine. Well, we just found out that was a lie. We just found out that. You heard what they said? You heard what Preem said? We was on 150th Ave. They had work, we had work. The only thing we had in common in so many words was he had the same connect. So that's what kept the peace between them two. The same connect. That's what he said. Watch the documentary. Yo, we was on 150th Ave. We was with Preem. He said Fat Cat was across the street from us. We had the same connect. He didn't say, yo, Cat was hitting us. So that, again, this was a narrative created by the rats and dudes who began to create these weird narratives. Fat Cat was not Supreme Plug. You know what I'm saying? The only thing they had in common was on the same block. On the same block. You heard what Son said. We heard it. See the documentary. The first thing he said was, we was on the same block, 150th Ave. So this is what the rats, so this is what the rats, the dudes that was cooperating, they didn't call them rats, dudes that was cooperating, put together these narratives to put themselves in people's stories like, yeah, we was they plugged, so they was down with us. They wasn't that, we was just, the only thing they had in common was, some of us was God body, we was on the same block, we knew each other, we was cool. We go to the club, and like any other block, yo, the block going out, let's all go out, let's shoot out. Okay, so let's get to it. Nichols suspected two men, Henry and Isaac Bolden, of robbing Nichols' organization. Now, who's Henry Bolden and who's Isaac Bolden? Henry Bolden is the guy who allegedly shot AZ in the head. You know what I'm saying? So these guys are experienced stick-up kids. Timmons, Ronald Timmons, and Henry Bolden are seasoned stick-up kids. Those guys that Kev Clark allegedly had with him, and they did that in that house in the Bronx. These dudes wasn't day by day. This is what they did for a living. AZ wasn't the only victim. There's other victims in their timeline. You see what they did to the Fat Cat. While Nichols was incarcerated, he sought Miller's assistance in locating the Boldens so that Nichols' crew members could kill him. To obtain that information, Miller sought the help of two corrupt New York State Parole Division employees, parole officer Enna McGriff, not related to Kenneth, and Secretary Ronnie Younger. Enna McGriff was responsible for supervising the parole of Supreme Team Security Chief Ernesto Pinella, but had become romantically involved with him. Younger had become romantically involved with Miller. So basically, they both was messing with the parole officers. The team regularly paid both women for corrupt assistance. For example, McGriff falsely certified that Pinella was in compliance with parole regulations. She and Younger provided the gang leaders with information from their parole files, false identification documents, and information about whereabouts of other parolees. So you couldn't run from them because they was able. If you was on parole, they had to plug with parole. She was Younger, false information documents, and McGriff, who as a parole officer carried guns, supplied Supreme Team members with ammunition. Pinella and Enna McGriff testified that Miller paid the two women $3,000 for the address for the two Boldens and their family. Handwritten notes, and this is what happens in the street. Yo, son. Yo, I heard you mention some parole officer. Yo, I got some money. You know what I'm saying? I want to get these dudes hit. I bet. Allegedly, dudes put themselves in those conversations. Handwritten addresses recovered in a raid of a Supreme Team, two Boldens. Handwritten notes of such addresses was recovered in a raid of a Supreme Team apartment. Never keep records. You see, never keep records. So somebody never keep records. So dudes been slipping up, making mistakes before this YouTube thing. Some dudes make mistakes. You just seen it. You never keep records. These dudes have habits, some of them, of keeping records. You don't know who, but somebody kept some records. So again, when we call these dudes young and dumb, this has been going on for generations. They had to have been young and dumb, right? Who the hell keep records? You know what I'm saying? The notes provided Henry Bolden's address in the Bronx. Shout out to everybody on the 9th, 169th, Washington Ave. Shout out to Disco B, Web Projects. Shout out to my man Peanut, Robert Verona for Webster Projects. That whole website, you know what I'm saying? Webster Projects, Butler. Y'all know the location. Washington Projects. Y'all know. The notes provided Henry Bolden's address in the Bronx, where thereafter he was shot, and they provided Isaac Bolden's mother address in the immediate vicinity of which he was therefore shot and murdered. Now look at the difference. Shout out to What's Your Jacket podcast. Look at the difference. They robbed Fat Cat. He got some results, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? They shot AZ in the head, and all he did was tell. Can somebody answer that question? The same guy, Henry Bolden, robbed Fat Cat's spot with his brother, with Cuzzo, and probably somebody else. I'm not too sure about the other person. They not mention them in the paperwork. I am not gonna speculate. The same individual that Cat had shot, that took the time out to go, yo, son, you know what I'm saying? Yo, son, they tomorrow came to him like, yo, Cat, I could get a plug on, son. He on parole, right? I'll fuck with the parole officer. It's gonna cost you some money. No, just a plug it. All right, bet. Boom. We don't know who did that. I don't know if Prince did that. We don't know. They told on Prince, or they got the records. But we're gonna talk about the difference between two individuals. Fat Cat went to kill. You shoot AZ, he said, I get a game up. I'm going to testify. I know who shot. I don't know the other two dudes, but I know Kevin Clark. I know where his mother lived at. That's crazy, right? Fat Cat went and paid somebody to get somebody's mother address to kill him, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Fat Cat went and he got crazy. He got crazy. And he got crazy. And he got crazy. So one was a gangster, one was a hustler. That's when you change that conversation. He went and got son's mother address. As soon as you see it, just hit it. As soon as you see one, just hit it, throw him out the room. That's it. They're talking about some real shit. For $3,000, they went and got a nigga mother address of 3 racks. AZ knew where Kevin Clark's mother lived at. Difference in conversations. It's where the wolves at. The wolves, y'all getting this information. Forget the information, hit that like button. The wolves is up. Shout out to Nas for making this great documentary on Showtime. Y'all can do your own due diligence. This is Prince's appeal. Let me go back to my reading, the paperwork, the appeal. For $3,000, let's think about the difference between, Father, you said it best, the gangster and the hustler. AZ didn't need a parole officer. Kevin Clark is you. Nah, Kevin Clark shot me. You know what I'm saying? That was the difference in that. He wasn't gonna let that stand by. He wasn't gonna let that fly by. Niggas ain't gonna rob me. You know what I'm saying? One of the dudes got shot. One of the dudes died. Find something legal to do. Let's get back. Let's get to 30. Let's get to 30 likes, man. Because this is where we at. Let's get to 30 likes. We're waking the wolves up. Let's get to 30. You know what I'm saying? Let me get back to the story. Handwritten notes such and such. The notes provided Henry Bolden. In 1987, McGriff also gave Piniella copies of parole division's documents indicating that Supreme Team member James Page was cooperating with authorities. Upon receiving that information, Kenneth McGriff, who had just been arrested on federal charges, ordered that Page be killed, allegedly. Piniella subsequently arranged Page's murder. The murders of Gus Rivera and 4 unidentified suppliers. That's number 2. This is what you know what I'm saying? Gus Rivera was a Supreme Team member who had introduced the gang leaders to some of his Colombian suppliers. And here go the plug with this, the gang leaders. Who was the leaders? Prince and like 3 Latinos. This works out. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to little Corey D and all of them. X. Rest in peace to X. You know what I'm saying? From something side. Gus Rivera was a Supreme Team member who had introduced the gang leaders to some of his Colombian suppliers. According to the trial testimony, 4 of these Colombian drug traffickers were robbed of their cocaine and brutally murdered in July 1989 by Miller, Herrero, Hale, Hunt, and Jimenez. However, other than the testimony that two of these men were known as Fernando and George, the government was unable to present evidence as to their identities, and their bodies was never identified. The jury found that these murders alleged as RICO predicate acts was not proven beyond a reasonable doubt. In the wake of these murders, the gang decided that Rivera was more of a liability than an asset. Accordingly, in August 1989, Rivera arranged for him to be killed. Rivera was shot in the head in the Baisley Park courtyard, but he survived and hid from the gang temporarily. Rivera learned Rivera's whereabouts from Rivera's girlfriend by threatening to kill her. Rivera and Pell proceeded to track Rivera to a Queens motel room where they shot him to death. These are the motives. These are the motives. This is Prince's. This is some of the homicides that he was alleged to be a part of. These are the homicides, bro. The Suarez Perlaza motives. You know what I'm saying? 89 was crazy in Queens. Put it like that. 89, 90 was crazy in Queens. Remember, a lot of things that we knew about Queens was Queensbridge. Shout out to Queensbridge. Shout out to, just like Nas said, we seen this from the window. I seen this from reading newspaper. I didn't see this when I went to, only thing I knew about the Coliseum was it was always lit. I didn't see something side. I didn't see Baisley, because I wasn't going that deep in until like the early 90s. Like 91, 92, 93 when I would go out there. Rest in peace to Gigi from the north side though. Definitely shout out to the GM family, the Glenn and Marley family. Definitely shout out to them, you know what I'm saying? And Queensbridge was off the hook. You know what I'm saying? That was off the hook alone. You know what I'm saying? Supreme Team, okay, where am I going? I'm going to the Fernando Suarez and Pablo Perlaza were also Colombian suppliers to the Supreme Team. In the summer of 1989, the team decided to steal their suppliers' cocaine rather than buy it. Brooklyn shit. Of course, that's BK shit. You know what I'm saying? Accordingly, in August 1989, when Suarez and Perlaza arrived at Hale's Baisley Park apartment, they were held by gunpoint by Julio Hernandez while Herrero and Hale bound them with tape, allegedly. Supreme Team members then tied the suppliers' heads in plastic bags while Suarez and Perlaza was suffocating. Hale beat their heads with a baseball bat. Thereafter, Hunt was called upon to help dispose the bodies. After he arrived, the bodies was loaded into a car and dumped in separate locations in Queens. Later knowing that her husband had gone to meet Herrero before disappearance, Suarez's wife telephoned Herrero, who told her that Suarez was supposed to have met him, but he never arrived. That's the mob. That's what things that the mafia did. So this sounds crazy. Now here it goes. Those are the murders. Some of the murders, some of the cases actually Prince's one of his appeals. You know what I'm saying? In March 1989, after lengthy investigations, it goes B, the present prosecution. In March 1990, after lengthy investigations, several members of the Supreme Team were arrested by state authorities and were charged with offenses similar to those issues here. After certain pretrial motions were decided adversely to the state, see Part 2B-2 below. The state indictments was dismissed, which they mentioned in the documentary. They mentioned this in the documentary. So for a lot of you guys that's not from the United States of America that's watching this, this is the paperwork. This is actually his appeal. You know what I'm saying? And remember, he mentioned that the state dropped the charges, but the feds picked it up. And actually, he's been in jail ever since. He's been in jail since the day they raided his house in the video. This is reasons why. Peace to the guards. Peace to 7 guard. You know what I'm saying? In anticipation of those decisions, the state turned its evidence over to the United States, which brought the present prosecution. Let's get the 38. Let's get the 40 likes. That was back then. That was back then. That's why a lot of dudes is coming home under that situation that Donald Trump signed, because because that RICO law, just like they said in this documentary, it wasn't really written for the black man. That RICO laws was written for organized crime that was considered the Italians, the Irish, the the more organized crime figures. Let's get to 38. I know we can get to 38. My Wi-Fi might be a little slow, but let's get there. This is what you're watching on this documentary, which is on Showtime. When he speak about this, you could go, yo, let me go back to Zeke Black joint. This is what he was talking about. He's reading the paperwork. You know what I'm saying? In a 14-count superseding indictment, the government charged all of the defendants with conducting the affairs of the Supreme Team through a pattern of racketeering based in part of some of its acts of racketeering described above in violation of RICO, 18 U.S.C. 1962, and with conspiring to distribute and to possess with intent to distribute cocaine base in violation of 21 U.S.C. 846. All but Hunt was charged with one or more counts of distributing cocaine base at various times in violation. And Miller, Herrero, Hale, Tucker, Hunt, and Jimenez were charged with one or more counts of possession with the intent to distribute cocaine in violation of 21 U.S.C. 841 and 841B1C. In addition, Miller was charged with one count of engaging in a continuing criminal enterprise in violation of 21 U.S.C. 848, one count of threatening violence in connection with his position in a racketeering organization in violation of 18 U.S.C. 1959, and two counts of conducting financial transactions with proceeds of narcotic transactions in violation of 18 U.S.C. 1959 A1B. Miller and Coleman were charged with one count of distributing cocaine base within 1,000 feet of a public school in violation of 21 U.S.C. 841 A1. And Herrero was charged with one count of using a telephone in interstate commerce to facilitate and promote the lawful activities of the Supreme Team in violation of 18 U.S.C. 1953 A3 1984. The defendant made various unsuccessful pretrial motions, including challenges to the jury selection system. See, including Part 2A below, motions to suppress pen register and wiretap evidence that had been gathered by the state. See parts, whatever. Motions to exclude testimony by Julio Hernandez on the ground that his continued association with the defendants after he had begun to cooperate with the government violated the defendant's Sixth Amendment rights to counsel. See Part 2. Motions to exclude the testimony of widow of homicide victim Fernando Suarez to statements below. Following disposition of the pretrial motions and the dismissal of two counts, one of the financial transaction counts against Miller and the distributionary school count against Miller. Look how deep that is. You selling drugs by 1,000 people from a school, that's part of his case. I remember when he passed that law, you couldn't sell no drugs 1,000 feet or certain side of feet from the school, you got more time. Boom, this is around that time, 1990, you know what I'm saying? Now, listen, at trial, Miller was acquitted on the possession and account of threatening violence. He was convicted on all of the other counts of which he was tried. So everything else he was tried on, he got convicted on, except he was acquitted on the possession count and the count of threatening violence. Tucker was convicted on the RICO and narcotics conspiracy counts and on one distribution count. He was acquitted on all the other counts against him. Hale was convicted on the RICO counts against him. Hunt and Herrero were each acquitted on one count of possession, and they were convicted on all the other counts against them. David Robinson was convicted on all of the counts against him. The jury found Jimenez not guilty on the possession count, but guilty on all the other counts against him. The district attorney subsequently granted Jimenez Rule 29 motion and entered judgments of acquittal for him on the RICO count and the distribution count, leaving him convicted only of narcotics conspiracy. At the separate trial, Coleman and Raymond Robinson were each acquitted on one distribution count. They were convicted on all the other counts which they were tried. This is Miller's appeal. You know what I'm saying? This is appeal. So basically, he's got a body that didn't, you know what I'm saying? He's caught up with the Bolden situation. That was a real situation though, with the Bolden. For those that don't know who Henry Bolden is, let's go into that. Let's go into where Henry Bolden, for those that's not from here, you may have seen Paid in Full. You may have seen The Game Is Over by Troy Reed. And you know, shout out to Troy Reed. Shout out to Definitely Clout Chaser. Troy Reed was very well versed. He wrote a book saying, I know Albert. I don't know Alpo. Smart man. That's how you control the narrative. I'm gonna talk about a man being normal, just like Tuffy did. Shout out to Tuffy when Tuffy mentioned, no, nobody ever talked about Prince owning the house, being a family man. He changed the narrative. Now he doesn't sound like this animal, this beast, this street demon, this wolf. Feed the wolves, man. You know what I'm saying? The Yankees staying in the Bronx. Yo, I'm gonna tell you something. The Yankees, where their stadium is at, is like, it's in the Bronx. That they show, it's in the Bronx. But you gotta go up the hill to see the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's blocked off from the real world of the Bronx. But I ain't gonna front. You walk up that hill, you in the Bronx. Shout out to that part of the Bronx. We're getting to Henry Bolden right now because we're having a New York City history lesson. I'm not the best who ever done it. I'm just here in the top 10. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Smack dead in the hood. But you gotta go up the hill. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go up the hill to see the excitement. It's not like Shea Stadium that's cut off from reality. Shea Stadium's in Flushing. The only thing out there is I think they moved it, the dirty cars, the car spots across the street, the MTA, the bus, the train, and Shea Stadium in the highway. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Let me get to the Henry Bolden, you know what I'm saying? Because Henry Bolden, which is mentioned in the paperwork. So now when you're watching this documentary, I'm giving y'all something that you can go, wait a minute, see, Black was talking about the actual appeal, so now you're gonna see what he says when they drop, boom, the state and the feds picked it up. It's not like when you heard it first said, it just gives you something you can piggyback off. And like I said, I'm just doing my due diligence, but if you want to do your due diligence, you can go deeper in the research if you would like, and then it's great. Again, I'm not expecting Prince to talk about the murders. I don't want Prince to show me locations where individuals died, because because you're trying to get home. You don't want to glorify that. You don't want family members. See, that's a fight for a lawyer to fight. But if they got wiretaps that was actually legal through the state, and the feds picked it up, but if a judge signed off on those wiretaps, it's not so much illegal. If they had grounds to get wiretaps, that's the only thing. Was there? The thing is, was there? Because if the judge never, because they have motion hearings, right? And the motion hearings, they are for those, for situations like that. I never been to the feds. I know in the state they have hearings when after the indictment and you want to go to trial, they have hearings. The Brady hearing, this hearing, I forgot them. You know what I'm saying? I never went all the way. And that's when they start fighting against the hardest piece of evidence that they got against you want thrown out. Some people write statements that need to suppress that. The gun was obtained illegally. Illegal wiretap. So that had to have been a fight that Prince had. But if they had a legal right, because with the wiretaps, if the judge signed off on it, it's golden. If they have a good reason to ask for this wiretap. It may sound crazy what I'm saying, but it's just a lesson. It's all history. This is because there are a bunch of illegal wiretaps. They get so thirsty to get you, they just pull us. Man, we're just gonna wiretap them. But if it got signed by a judge, yes, if it gets signed by a judge, then you know what I'm saying? Exactly. If a judge sign off, you know what I'm saying? His signature, they have probable cause for that. Yeah, it's hard to get around that. And a lot of times the wiretaps is what make the case more credible. When you're speaking about smoking somebody, yo, did you handle that? And such thing is a game. The wiretap sometimes supersedes the evidence they got against you because it's your words. These are your words. So remember, they're presenting this to a jury. And they prayed to present it in front of a jury that has no ties to the streets. Let me get to 38. Let's get to this 30. I don't know if I'm going to ask for 38 likes. Hit the like button. They just had a thing now in St. Louis. They're saying that you can't just kick somebody's doors in. You got to have an actual warrant. No more of that freestyle. We think they're hustling. We kick the doors in. They're not doing that no more. Just here in St. Louis, he passed it. There's a lot of, because you know a lot of these cops be overzealous. You know what I'm saying? They go too far. They'll kick your door in with we got a call that they're selling drugs downstairs. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the local police, remember these local police know who you are. So when these local police see you and they driving around and some of them don't like you, and they hear you got a gun in your house, they coming. What's your jacket goes, yo, when I came to Clinton, Maine, I heard about the story, but coming across them in real life really is something else. Clinton, Maine, 2000, and up north with was Big Ben, Bogart, Triple OG, Gangsta Dre. The feds play grimy though, you know what I'm saying? Yep. Now, let's get to, because the title of the show is Episode 2, The Streets, Hip Hop, The Truth. So a lot of things that's in this documentary is showing the similarities to hip hop, the streets, the truth. They got episode 1 with LL Cool J. Rappers want to be like the hustlers. Like I told you, the hustlers wasn't dressing like Prince. You know what I'm saying? So rappers wasn't rapping about dudes that, like your boss would have mascara on his face. That was unheard of. May have had some that was looking like that, but he might have had an accent. He might have been a little Latino, but that's another conversation. You know what I'm saying? But as an African American, if you wasn't really wearing super tight jeans with penny loafers and Jerry Curl activation in our here, that was a Michael Jackson thing. You know what I'm saying? Hold on a second. Yeah, that was a Michael Jackson thing, you know what I'm saying? Check out We Locked In. They had a great show last night. You have a lot of great commentary. I like everybody was speaking. I like the content they put up there yesterday. Check out We Locked In on YouTube. Mikey B, Moshe, KK. It's great because a lot of times us as bloggers, we forget that we're blogging. And we try to put ourselves a part of street chemistry, sometimes part of the war story, and we're applying street rules, street conversations without documentation to a lot of our stories, which is causing stories to be mixed up. So then what happens is a good example when Preem and Prince call from a jail and they speak about their facts, it destroys some of your content that you may have put out a year ago or 2 years ago. Because now it's like, yo, son, it wasn't like that. There wasn't no round circles and tables, and that's what kept the peace. Oh, nah, they was just cool on the same block, and they took off, and there was a mutual respect. They was older, and they was younger, and it was, you know what I'm saying? It was just different, bro. So, you know what I'm saying? What happened is once the record labels got their hands on hip hop, it changed the algorithm. Because now who owns hip hop is the Europeans. The Europeans love the hip hop that was like rock stars. They like our rappers looking like Rick James. Rick James made people money. That lifestyle made people money. Rick James is one of the first singers, one of the first ones that actually made a song glorifying the use of a drug. Mary Jane. There's probably other punk rockers. We got the Grateful Dead. We got groups like Fish. We got Led Zeppelin. We had the heavy metal heads. We had Guns N' Roses. But for us, he was one of the ones. He's just one of the great artists that blew up, rapping about using drugs. And he wore tight leather pants with cowboy boots and blouses and makeup on his face and licking people's foreheads and all that craziness. You know what I'm saying? So now they brought that back. It works. It's a bigger crowd than that because Europeans, some people like that. They like to see a young boy running around with leather pants on with his shirt off. You know what I'm saying? That's that punk rock thing because that element of music has left. That style, not the element, but the style. Why do you think you see that Playboy Cardi look like a vampire? Who wore that type of stuff? Groups like Led Zeppelin. There's other rock and roll groups that was into heavy metal groups. That makeup on your face thing been a thing. But since that sound and music ain't so big, okay, you rap niggas, you're gonna start looking like Led Zeppelin. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they doing now. They're gonna put the tattoos on your face with the earrings. All that come from that heavy metal, the MTV wave. That's a whole nother clientele. That's a whole nother clientele when it comes to music. Sorry for changing the topic just a little bit. I'm just giving y'all what the hip hop is now. The average hip hop guy is gonna do what. That's why you really hear about heavy metal nowadays. You really hear about that hard rock because now these rappers is doing it. They're dressing this way. Yes, they brought it back to that. We control this. Now that hip hop is number one see, now that all over the world, this is the number one thing, we're gonna control this. So you're gonna run around here looking like Led Zeppelin. You're gonna wear cowboy boots with some tight sweatshirts like Rick James, makeup on your face, and you're gonna do stupid things like jump in the crowd with your shirt off like a fish. This is what they're doing. This is what hip hop turned into. And you're gonna do a lot of drugs. Cause that's what these punk rockers do. Here, sip this lean. You're gonna pop these perks. Look at the young boy that popped the perks and he died from the airplane crash. If you watch that documentary on Showtime, he was on lean every day. Look at high every day. Eventually he was gonna OD. What y'all think? This kid's like 18 years old, taking hard drugs, and they sniffing coke, doing mollies. This is what the game took. This is what the game is turned into. The new rappers is Led Zeppelin. What was heavy metal music based off of? When you listen to heavy metal music, talked about what? Dead people, killing yourselves, doing drugs, heavy metal. Remember that whole heavy metal wave? You walk around with the long weave, you wear all black. Everything is dark in your life. That's that heavy metal crowd. I only know about it because I'm from East Harlem, but I also lived on the borderline of white America, the Upper East Side. The Upper East Side is a lot of them was into heavy metal. I even ran a little bit into the communist crowd, but that's a whole other story. I was young, writing graffiti. I knew a couple of little commies. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't the communist. I just knew a couple of them. You know what I'm saying? You hear me? So, as we're speaking about this genre of music, that's been here. But hip hop has superseded that. It's still around. So you young niggas is gonna run around. Y'all gonna become the new heavy metal niggas. You're gonna glorify doing these drugs. You're gonna talk about death, killing yourself, and dying and jumping on stage. Yeah. That's what drill music is, another formation of heavy metal. And if I'm right, I could be wrong. Drill music is big in Europe. You have drill music, and we're speaking about Europe. and drill music, we can't forget about these communist alienation crowds that push that gender music across that water. Listen, y'all can say this better. Y'all can say this better, you heard? You guys can tell me this better. Come on, tell me. Drill music is big in Europe, but what's the crowd that follows that? What's the crowd that follows drill music in Europe? So are we surprised at what K Flock is doing? What B Love them is doing? We can't be surprised because what crowd follows that? What lane what lane did drill music come from? Did it come from that punk rock wave? Did it come from heavy metal? Did it come from the Aryan music wave where they be talking crazy, them Aryans and all that stuff? Which wave did it come from? Listen, I'm just paying attention. So now that it's in America, why are we surprised? Because we ain't paying attention to what's going on in Europe. That's none of our business. So that's touching on, to me, the drill music wave. There's nothing positive about drill music. There's nothing positive about it. All Leon Cohen did was help push that agenda in America. He found some young boys that was rapping like this, that, and third, get in the studio and get crazy and talk about violence. What does heavy metal music? Heavy metal. A lot of you guys take your time out to listen to heavy metal. Heavy metal. Who was the guy that was going on stage drinking people's spit? He had all the makeup on his face. So are we surprised? Are we seriously old niggas trying to figure out what's going on with this when we know the labels are trying to make these young boys into the next Led Zeppelin? Shout out to Stack Stone, man. Feed the wolves. Let's feed the wolves. We're feeding the wolves. Let's get to 40. Let's get to 40, you heard? Now we're about to go into the Henry Bolden. Sorry for the distraction. That's my take on drill music. Drill music derived from something, like techno music derived from something. Freestyle derived from something. Shout out to my man Ed Medina and the Boricuas on the Upper East Side, on the East Side and the Lower East Side. I mean, wigs and all that. Even the Puerto Ricans had a bad summer. How do you think they felt about Menudo? Menudo was a shock to them. It was a shock to most of us. You know what I'm saying? DAs. Top of the morning. No, I'm gonna put my. If you guys would like to, I'm gonna put something. I'm not gonna say what it is. I'm just gonna put it in there. I know I'm not matching, but I'm doing it for Queens. Old school hip hop. Shout out to my man from old New York that I represent. I know I'm not matching, but I got the orange on. The orange match somewhere. Peace to the gods and earth. Shout out to Willie Low, man. The low lives is in the building. Shout out to the low lives. Double L's. New York culture, man. Put this in there, man. Oh, man. So you asked about drill music. Where does drill music derive from? If they say it was in Europe and it's big in Europe, who's following that? Okay, where did it come from? We know where hip hop came from. They say soul, they say R&B, they say that, right? Hip hop came from some shit, and house music came from some shit. So where did drill come from? Okay, all right. What's heavy metal? So I can tell a lot of you dudes didn't have cable back in the days, because that's all you see on MTV was heavy metal. Led Zeppelin. Kiss, remember Kiss? We watched Kiss all day on NBC. They would come on Saturday mornings sometimes, the group Kiss. They had all type of makeup on their face. Hold on, let me get this straight. Hold on a second. Come on, man. Come on, man. That's why it's like when they ask us OGs, I'm not an OG. I'm just me. When they ask an older guy like me, what you about that drill music? Where does it derive from? Okay, boom. Well, what I thought about heavy metal, that's about the heavy metal crowd. What was they doing? They was committing suicide and they was killing people that was in a part of certain situations. Remember the heavy metal crowd just wasn't listening to heavy metal. They was killing people. Yep, jukebox. I remember the box. I was on Rikers Island when he had that. It was crazy. It was crazy. That punk rock scene, that was a crazy scene. Tight leather jeans, blouses, and all. Imagine the only people that got away with that Jerry curl blouses and tight jeans and purple shirts was those Dominicans. No disrespect to Dominicans. They was the plugs. They got away with that. They got away because they was foreigners. So they was, you know what I'm saying? They got away with that. I wasn't doing that. I couldn't see my man. He got a blouse on looking like Prince Jose when you want 100. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly, what? Bingo. So what came out of positive out the punk rock scene? Europeans. When you speak about punk rockers, we can't forget about most of them was part of the Nazi movements that ran around Britain and France, and that's that music. So why would y'all think it comes to America and it's something that's positive? Only difference in that country is that we don't follow the BBC all day, so we don't hear their crime wave. We only know what we know on our side. Facts. Now, let me get back to the Henry Bolden joint, you know what I'm saying? Hold on. Why am I going through this? Hold on. This is just real talk, man. I'm not, listen, y'all can dispute my shit. I love it when y'all dispute it because then I can learn something. But for what I know. So this all these new rappers is doing, they're doing. You see what B Love was, you see what Son was doing on stage? This is that crowd. This is that crowd for that. So how are we surprised? How are we surprised? How are we surprised about anything that comes from that wave? Now, talking about the Bolden brothers, which I'm trying to get to, but I don't know what just happened. Yes, it's a zesty crowd. But you around for remember Grateful Dead, they sell out stadiums. They go on tour. You got people that followed the Grateful Dead. They had dudes that followed them that was doing mushrooms and PCP and all that other craziness. You know what I'm saying? Let's not forget. You got a crowd for that Grateful Dead crowd. But what this has to do with Supreme, somebody brought the drill music, so now I have to. That's my take on the drill music scene. So I'm not surprised at the chaos that comes from it. You know what I'm saying? They living out their dreams. Definitely shout out to Sandra, the $20 drop. Oh, Double R. Shout out to my man Double R for the $20 drop. Feeding the wolves. The wolves is up early in the morning, you heard? Definitely. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? This is all information, man. This is that's my take on the gym. So they say that all the young boys losing their mind now. This is it. This is it. Definitely. He says feed the wolves. You're feeding the wolves. Definitely appreciate you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, hold on 1 second. You gotta get back to the content. We got stuck and walked this way. That's how, to be honest with you, that's how Run DMC blew, bro. They blew, but when they did Walk This Way, that shit went to the moon. You had dudes with Adidas suits with dudes with lipstick on. It was a different mix. You know what I'm saying? Hold on 1 second. definitely shout to Double R. The old, you know what I'm saying? This is just New York history, man. So now you have an idea of who Henry Bolden is. How it goes. Killer confronts survivor before getting 112 years. Let me get the newspaper article. I guess he got 112 years in jail for the shooting and the shooting situation with AZ. Let me see the newspaper article. Let me see where I get this. This is them right here, though. This is the guys who shot two of the guys that was involved with the AZ shooting. That's them right there. That's the Bolden guy, Henry Bolden. One of them is Henry Bolden, one of them is Timmons. You know what I'm saying? The guy in the bigger picture, that's Henry Bolden, and the other one is Timmons. Those are two of the guys that killed. That's the sentence they got for shooting AZ. This is the paperwork. Word? This is called due diligence. This is the same guy that leads Fat Cat. He didn't tell on him for robbing the spot. He tried to get him shot. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Hold on 1 second. So now, you know what I'm saying? Now you see how these stories coincide with each other? What's this, man? I can't play this. I can't play this thing. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I gotta go to the other one then. This is you know what I'm saying? So now you're getting grasp of what Prince is in jail for. You know what I'm saying? The PO did tell on him though, you know what I'm saying? Oh shit, hold on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm showing you the facts. I'm showing you the facts. That's the best I could do under my due diligence. You know what I'm saying? Oh, where's this thing at, man? So these dudes were seasoned stick-up kids. These wasn't nobody to play with. These were seasoned stick-up kids. You know what I mean? Easy. Let me get the image. Maybe I can see better in the image. It gets real, man. It gets real. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to disrespect AZ. Just to let you know that I'm not trying to disrespect A. I'm just saying the difference between individuals. You know what I'm saying? They shot him in the head. He told on Kevin. They robbed the spot. Son got shot. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy as it sounds, and somebody died. You know what I'm saying? So, hold on. Let's see if I can get this. A triple murderer triggered an angry shouting match in court yesterday as he bugged out. Why don't you look Why don't you look at me now? You never look at me. Killer Ronald Timmons, 38, shouted at Michael Lamar in Bronx Supreme Court. I wasn't the man that did this to you. Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Lamar yelled back. Just minutes before the judge socked Timmons with 112 years in life. You were there. I hope you... Wow. The two men and another friend stormed into a Grand Concourse apartment that day to steal. Before leaving, they shot all 6 occupants in the head. Lamar was shot 5 times and his wrist and was slashed severely in his head. Am I reading this? I'm reading this thing that's crazy, man. It's just not clear. So I'm looking at blurriness as I'm reading this. Oh, wait a minute. It makes it more easier, man. Hold on a second. I just thought about this. Yeah, it is. Why am I going through all that for, man? Let me read this. Let me read this appeal, man. Going through all that nonsense, man. Now, this is Henry Bolden. Henry Bolden is in Prince's case. It's Henry Bolden. This is his appeal. People versus Timmons. Appellate Division of Supreme Court of New York, First Department, July 2nd, 1991. This is what he puts the appeal in. Appeal from the Supreme Court, Bronx County, Fred W. Edgar J., July 2nd, 1991. Defendant's guilt of participation in a drug-related massacre execution of 3 helpless victims was established by overwhelming evidence, including the testimony of 3 severely wounded survivors, one of whom was a 13-year-old girl. Despite the appalling character of these crimes, we are required to reverse by reason of clear indications of jury tampering, which surfaced immediately post the verdict and fatally tainted it. Defendant Timmons was tried together with 2 alleged accomplices, Kevin Clark, which is AZ's brother-in-law, and Henry Bolden. Kevin Clark is AZ's brother-in-law. Only Clark took the stand in his own defense and testified to an alibi that at the time of the killings, he was in the apartment of his neighbor, Zavia Collins, having intimate relations with her. Both resided in the same Bronx County multiple dwelling on the same floor. The jury returned a guilty verdict with respect to defendant Timmons on June 8, 1989. Following this, defendant told his lawyer of a conversation he had with his co-defendant Clark, in which Clark revealed that he had discussed the case with juror number 6, Jacqueline Crum, in a transparent telephone, I guess a 3-way telephone conversation in which Collins had participated, and that an arrangement had been made for Crum to vote to convict Timmons and Bolden in order to enhance her credibility in arguing for the acquittal of Clark. Wow. So that's why he was back on that appeal, I believe, in 1995 when he was on Rikers Island. This is deep. This is Timmons' appeal. Again, the man who, this is the co-defendant, you know what I'm saying? Henry Bolden is the guy that with the Fat Cat situation, they got caught in AZ situation. So these dudes was hitting hitters, you know what I'm saying? Properly applying the guidelines laid down by the Court of Appeals in People versus Buford, the trial court conducted a post-conviction hearing pursuant at which both Collins and Crum testified. Based on what developed there, we hold that the verdict must be vacated on the grounds of that. In the language of the statute, during the trial, there occurred out of the presence of the court improper conduct by a juror or improper conduct by another person in relation to a juror, which may have affected a substantial right of the defendant and which is not known to the defendant prior to the rendition of the verdict. Now, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. This is a man's appeal. The reason why I'm reading this appeal for, because Henry Bolden is a part of Prince's case, because the parole officer situation. Also, because the parole officer did testify, but against Prince, or she testified on something, you know what I'm saying? But happened to be that His name came up in the robbery situation with Fat Cat, and Cat allegedly put the hit out and such for $3,000. One man died, and another man got shot. But that same man was the same man who did that to AZ. Allegedly. He's sitting in jail for the AZ situation. Collins testified that she had a 13-year relationship with Crumb. Dating back to 1976. She first met Clark in 1987 when he moved into her apartment building with his wife and children. She visited him at Rikers Island 2 to 3 times before the trial began, and 4 to 5 times once the trial commenced. Now, this is what he was trying to do. Let's get the 50 likes. Let's get the 50 likes right. Let's get to the big 5-0. You heard? The big 5-0, 050. Shout out to China Brim, the movement. They did a great due diligence on that guy, the other Crip from Vanderveer. That's great. The paperwork party's in. 050 China Brim movement. Let's get to them 50 likes. Basically, Kevin Clark knew one of the jurors. It was cool. He was trying to manipulate her, which he probably, get the jurors to convict them too, but make it look like I got nothing to do with that because I got the alibi. Play off the alibi to the juror. Who knows? That's probably was the play, but there was some manipulation going on. When Crumb was selected as a jury, she telephoned Collins with the news. Who's unable to recall the day Crumb told her, then invoked her Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination. She also invoked the privilege when asked if she had called the juror, if she had arranged a 3-way conference call among the co-defendant, the juror, and herself, if she had spoken to Crumb about the verdict, if she had spoken to Crumb after the trial had started, and if she had told Clark that she was a friend of Crumb. When her turn came, Crumb denied any misconduct in the discharge of her duties as a juror. Crumb testified that she first learned of Clark's relationship with Zavia Collins only after the trial. She also said that during the trial, she did not recognize Collins' name when it cropped up in Clark's testimony because she only knew Collins as Ann, the names of Collins' children, because she only knew their nickname or her address because she did not visit her. She added that she did not speak with anyone, including Collins, after the trial, and maintained that she did not know Kevin Clark. So this was Timmons' appeal, part of his appeal. That's some deep stuff, man. That's deep stuff, man. That's, you know what I'm saying? And that was his appeal, you know what I'm saying? Now this is Bolden's. This is the case he came home from the first time. Hold on one second. Here go Henry Bolden. People versus Bolden 2004. April 2nd, 2004. Uh-oh. This might be one of the good ones. Let's get to that 50. People versus Kevin Clark. You know what I'm saying? You hear me? Here go the story. We're gonna go into the scene and paid in full now. The house robbery. This is Kevin Clark. Kevin Clark was AZ's brother-in-law, or a guy who had ties to AZ. So you see how we went from Bolden, Queens. He's a part of Prince's situation. names in the situation, but he's not dead, he's in jail. But he might as well say he's dead, he got 112 years. And then you have this case. I've been going to pay them for right now. This is the infamous Kevin Clark, the man who put together the robbery, the brother-in-law. The people of the state of New York versus Kevin Clark. Argued January 13, 1993, decided April 5th, 1993. Robert T. Johnson was then the district attorney of the Bronx County. The Chief Judge K and Judges Simmons, Hancock Jr., Belowski, and Smith concurred. Judge Titan dissents and votes to reverse an opinion. In order for the appellate court to confirm, the defendant and two co-defendants were convicted after a jury trial of multiple counts of murder and attempted murder. Following the conviction, all three defendants moved to set aside the verdict on the ground that one of the jurors had been in regular contact with the defendant's potential alibi, which is what I just read. During the trial court denied the motions on appeal. The appellate division reversed the convictions of the two co-defendants, People versus Timmons, dismissed, and People versus Bolden, dismissed, but affirmed the defendant's conviction, such and such. Under plea, a motion to set aside a verdict may be granted when it is shown that improper conduct by a jury may have affected a substantial right of the defendant. However, not every misstep by a jury rises to the inherently procedural level at which reversal was required automatically. Now, this is where it gets a little spooky at. I dissent the majority decision affirmed because, in my view and conclusion, that the defendant was not. Let me get to it, man. Because the majority has not referred to the underlying facts in the terms memorandum opinion. A brief review of the events that took place during and after the defendant's trial is necessary. The defendant, who was jointly tried with his two co-defendants, Ronald Timmons and Henry Bolden, built his defense on an alibi claim, specifically asserting under oath that on the night of the murder, he went to the apartment of his neighbor, Zavia Collins, where he spent the night and had an intimate relations with her the first day, for the first and only time. Ms. Collins, however, did not testify at the trial. So of course that's you know what I'm saying. We're reading, we're hearing it's a dirty game, man. You know what I'm saying? It was a dirty game. It's just information, man. And like a lot of you guys, y'all can look for this stuff. New York State Appeal, Henry Bolden, Ronald Timmons, Fat Cat Nichols, and then this is the actual case. This is what they want to do in their case, and it's going to mention who may have told or didn't tell. But this you see the conversations that we're having from this Prince thing, because he's not glorifying the murders, the bodies in Preem. Not just Prince, but Preem. Shout out to Bing, he's not glorifying the bodies. Shout out to Allah, understanding he's not glorifying the bodies. Shout out to the ways that those Rena are born, not glorifying the bodies. It's only and you know Tuffy for not glorifying the bodies. This is not a Fat Cat story. This is a Supreme Team story. A lot of you guys may not understand it. It's a Supreme Team story. It's not a Fat Cat story. They're not a branch off of Fat Cat. They had their own thing going on 150th Avenue. Some may know it as South Row. If you've been to the South Side, you know what I'm talking about. If you've been to the South Side, you know what I'm talking about. South Jamaica, Queens. That's another side. 50 cents from the guy Brewer's side, Rockdale and all that. You know what I'm saying? There's a Jamaican spot over there. I believe they call it the Door. That's over there. That's the south side. The Door, where the door is at. There's a Jamaican restaurant over there called the Door. That's giving you, you know, one side of the south side, Rockdale. Definitely salute to Corey Wright, Cash Brim, Cash Blood, Cash Brim, Cash Blood. Definitely shout out to the old Big Soul movement, South Jamaica Queens. You know, hood, black, hood, black, chopper. You know, Fox, Sutton Boulevard. I'm good anywhere. I'm not Superman, but I'm definitely solid from 118th to 115th. My man Zoe. Sutton Boulevard, Uncle Wow in the bricks. Dick DB in the bricks. You know, Streets in the bricks. Free. He about to come home soon anyway. The family. You know what I'm saying? G to B. Free G to B. I'm just giving you, you know, my IG, ZE Black Feed the Wolves. You can check that out. I got a picture on Fox. I'm in front of a store right there on Fox. I didn't get the reputation because I was the killer. It's being the man who I am. Zeke is cool. The people that say Zeke is cool. I think I said Zeke, alright. He alright, man. You know what I'm saying? This Prince story, the way it was put together was great. And I'm pretty sure the way Irv Geiger put the Murder Inc. one together, it's going to be great. You have the paperwork. You have the trial transcripts. Now, Crown Coast TV has the trial transcripts. No speculation. It's not too much. He's not doing. Yes, sir. You just said it right there. Us as OGs, we've been through a lot. It's a blessing to tell our stories and show our elevator, especially as black men. Because we came from a different time. When you ran from police, there's two things they told us. If you run from police, they're either going to kill you or they're going to beat you up. It was nothing good. We come from an era when the police had batons. You only see the batons in maximum prisons in New York State. They got the batons. They put the Ming Maos on you, the bang bang. You know how to calm all that down. The Rodney Kings, as y'all say. We come from that. We come from a generation where mommy said, do not bring the police to my house. This is when you play tag. When you was 10 years old, you mommy said, don't do nothing to bring that white man to my house. No disrespect, but those are the rules given to us. So you'll speak about these codes, it's just rules. Don't go to school and act up and have those people call me to come to school. That was the rule. So you knew no matter what you did in school, you couldn't get caught because mommy was coming. And back then, mommy could put their hands and feet on you in school. These are household rules that gave you some type of discipline when it came to the streets. What to do and what not to do. Not being disrespectful in school meant don't be the hottest name on the block. That what came with that. Those are the rules. Don't be hot on the block. It's not fun for the police to go, yo, Zeke Black, he's on the corner every day. Yo, Zeke Black had a fight last night. Those was not cool conversations. So everything Prince was talking about, those is facts. It wasn't cool to be the hottest name on the block. It wasn't cool to be punching people in the face. You didn't want your name to be that name that people spoke about. Shout out to the Guards of King, you know what I'm saying? Man, iced out, Fox 914, they in Clubhouse. Push that knife, you know, unstripping mentality. You got Zeke Black, I got my, I'm gonna start throwing some shows here and there. That's just my take on a lot of this information. My man E-Bands, definitely Cloud Chaser, they all in Clubhouse. Follow them on YouTube too, they got their channels. That's how we get the information out there. You all can't know it all, but let's go to the paperwork. Being a street individual wasn't about being stupid and tough. That wasn't what the rules of the street was. You had to have a plan. What you think, you sat around all day talking about getting high and partying? That wasn't. Getting fly, dudes was getting fly before they hustled. So we can't say getting fly was I had to wait till I started taking a pack of Robin until I got fresh. Yep. Divine Clark says, facing constant oppression, bad choices, and negative environments, we're still here. Now we have to save our children and babies. Always speak the truth. And that's what we want, the truth with hip hop. We know where the hip hop is going now. Hip hop is European. Drill music is a European thing. So we know what came from European punk rock music. Kill, kill, kill. So now these young boys is kill, kill, kill. So now let's take our kids who, you don't gotta be a hip hop artist. Put your mind over here. They got programs where you can send your kids to learn carpentry. Nah, forget that rap shit. Take 10 minutes out of your life. Yo, let me take you over here. Let's go to a library. Let's go to a science museum. I need your brain to go. The same energy you put into these rap lyrics, put into this. Only we can do that, bro. The grind wasn't to, the whole thing with the streets. Yes, because that's what heavy metal music was the same thing. It influenced violence within the kids. They banned heavy metal music at one point in time. And now they mixed it with this drill music because that's the European side mixed with their own style of hip hop. You listen to original drill, you think you listen to that heavy metal. I could be wrong, but y'all do your do. Go into early drill, go into heavy metal as far as 1998, 99. With yeah. Then he put a beat behind it, hip hop beat behind it. Then, because you know techno's big in Europe, doom doom, and then you put a little more soul in the beat, and now we got it. The difference is, in Europe, we don't watch BBC. Bingo. Why is it banned in Europe? Because it's that culture. Now, what culture came from in Europe? A lot of that rock and roll. What they would say, the Nazis, those neo-Nazis that's running around, black boots, black lipstick. That's that crowd. Shout out to Whip Up. Shout out to 132. You know the location, the destination. Shout out to Mob Style right there, Whip Up. Get in tune. You listen to Mob Style mixtape, the tape, the good, the bad, the ugly. He's on it. Whip Wop 132. Shout out to Harlem, man. So so you ask about drill music. That's that derived from hate, a hateful sound of music. When we was growing up watching MTV. Yes. We watched MTV, but they told us when we was like in 5th, 6th grade. Don't listen to heavy metal. These guys are killing themselves. They're killing people. They're wearing this black stuff. They're doing things that's crazy. They're killing their parents. They're killing their dog. Their music speaks strictly about death, the devil. They praise the 666. They praise everything that's wrong. I'm not even trying to be right in the conversation. Just do your due diligence. Do your due diligence and go, damn. So that's why the drill music is so crazy, because it derived from craziness. Its birth of it comes from something that's crazy. And the crazy part about it is one of the first key players to help push that electric sound in America was African Bambaataa. See, y'all from the God, he had the first hip hop music, but the music that he was pushing, the genre music that he was pushing was that electronic beats, that electro sound. A-E-I-O-U, and groups of that, it sounds of that nature. That's what he's, so other than being the king of hip hop, he's the king of that sound, which wind up revolutionary down the line, wind up becoming what is known as drill music. African Bambaataa. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So we understand this. Wait a minute, this music that you're getting into deals direct with death. Nothing good. There's no education. There was nothing good about, the only music that had nothing good about it was heavy metal. Yes. Yes. And Marilyn Manson, that's what I was talking about. Marilyn Manson with all that makeup, he's eating people's blood, eating rats on stage. This is what drill music is now. So are we surprised that K Flock's alive now? That music is strictly for crashing. If you don't crash, somebody else is going to crash because that's what it represents, the crash. You have specific groups that was crashing, that was into that heavy metal. Techno music, we got immune to it because of hip hop, and you went to a party, they play freestyle, groups like TKA or Mark Anthony, host of others. You know, shout out to my man Ty Bless from 99 from Lex, Tony Stone from Jefferson, UFO Free Father, TKA K7. But the Europeans, they love hip hop too in the sound, and certain groups was migrating to their own sounds. Yeah, the neo-Nazis, they do the heavy metal, they do it to this day. And they do small cliques. You watch some of these documentaries with the new neo-Nazis and what they're listening to. I'm not a historian, bro. It's making you think. So now you got to think about why am I allowing my kids? Because a lot of y'all not having these conversations. A lot of y'all think, where did this drill shit come from? Then you follow the crowd that come from it. Oh, the neo-Nazi crowd came from that. It's a crashing crowd. It come from a crowd that crash. The music is nothing good. This is some heavy metal and go, yo, this is 2022 sound of a heavy metal. Record labels, you ain't slick. We know what you're doing. You're just using it on Black America. We found the way to get Black America into, okay, you're gonna crash out. We're gonna put money into it because heavy metal was $1 trillion industry. It's an underground sound. It has its own crowd. Why you think who are the main people buying their music? It ain't us. You know what I'm saying? That's their sound. One thing that they did was that they realized this: hip hop destroyed disco. They're not gonna let hip hop destroy the rest of their music. Hip hop is what really took disco out. It never really went nowhere, but it tore them down. Like disco, hip hop did the disco like 50 Cent did the job with no disrespect to job. That's what disco did. That's what hip hop did. You know what I'm saying? It just do. It's just that your sound is all about violence, gangster music, exactly. But the only thing, there's nothing positive with the music. It's all about crashing. It's all about the crash. When I think of drill music, I think about heavy metal. To the point where these young boys is dressing like heavy metal. The ones that's blowing up. Look at Playboy Cardi now. He think he's a vampire. Look at the skateboards. The skateboarders. Remember the skateboarders? Look at little Uzi Vert. He's like a skateboarder. But I like what you said, Divine, and I like how you see that. You ain't saying nothing wrong, bro. That's how you look at it. That's how you look at it, bro. There's no. I never met a drill song that had a message in it other than crash. Rest in peace to Chi Watts. That's my man's son. Rest in peace to Chi Watts. He was on his way to something good, man. But that music is based off of people killing themselves, crashing. The only one I seen that was transitioning. It's easy with the struggles. Being in your kid's life, teach them something different. Only we could do that. We can't expect the community to do that. The community creates the resources. We got to take advantage of the resources. My housing complex, I'm from Washington Projects, right? Washington Projects. Y'all know Washington from 97th Street to 105th, 3rd Avenue, 2nd Avenue. But I'm from Lexington Projects. We pay our rent. We from West Lex Wash. 4 buildings. Out of 4 buildings, we had a laundromat. You would thought that we lived in Co-op City. You would thought that my projects was Parkchester. We had 2 daycares. One in building 183 in the back and one in 110 building. 90% of the kids I grew up with went to college, got jobs, went to school. When dudes in my block hustled, it wasn't a story of I was just that fucked up. Dudes was hustling like there's nothing else to do. Like this is just something new. It was a flow. Let me get a pack. That's because there was programs that we was at. We had after school programs. We had Boys Harbor. We had PS 198 that had basketball programs. Our parents took advantage of what was in front of us. We're not paying attention to these free programs. In my neighborhood, they did. Most of my friends went to Captain School on 97th Street. They got their parents said, yo, they got the free swim shit at John Jay Pool. They got this, they got that. So we stood active. We was able to stay active. You got active. My block was $1 million block. Only 2 people died on my block. On my block. Lexington Projects. You can ask niggas about Lex. Now that's $1 million block. That's what the bosses hung out at. So how the fuck they wasn't killing each other? You know why? There's other resources. We didn't look at selling drugs just as our only way out. I know niggas that fucked up half a brick money on niggas. Niggas be on the dudes be on the Friday night sipping. Like that was crazy. You don't see that no place else. Because the resources is we don't look for the resources. We don't see what the city got to offer. See where I lived at, because of where we was at on the hill, our families was allowed, because of, I ain't gonna lie to you, Senate Deck had programs that would offer the parents, their kids to go to things, like Ask for a Green, after school programs. Senate Deck had after school programs. So a lot of kids, we was learning things. The city was pumping money into these programs. Our politicians was fighting for the kids. That's how they did that. It was just people that's running for office that was put in place to help have computer programs, to have reading programs. A lot of my friends to this day, like Z, we didn't even know certain dudes' parents got high because they never walked outside mad. Because when I grew up at, we all looked out for each other. If I was hungry and I was outside, I see my man John, I could go to John's crib and get a plate of food without even being with John. It was 6 o'clock and go upstairs. That's how we was, bro. That's how we was where I was from. So that's how you fix the problem. The parents gotta be parents. You can't look for the OG across the street to teach your child. That's where this shit went wrong at. We began to allow our kids to get in trouble, go to jail, and say they got a big homie. And not just blood, cripple, Latin king. We allowed that. And we allowed to watch our kids crash. Okay, that's a jail thing you did, whatever, but now, come over here, you're gonna learn some carpentry. You're gonna learn how to be a plumber. I need to change your state of mind. But no, we'll sit back and watch our kids crash. As a parent, how do you feel? I done seen dudes tell me this shit. Yeah, my son is homie. You take pride in that, son? My son is... So now, your excuse now is because of his big homie is why he's gonna crash out. You're just okay with that. Nah, he in the street. He's a grown man now. That's a win for you, bro. No disrespect to it's because you can't disrespect the big homies no more. You gotta look at the parent. If the father's out in the street and you live in the house with your son, and he walks with a red bandana, what are you supposed to do? Are you gonna keep having your son come to me allegedly so I can direct him? My whole course of action with him is crash dummy. I'm keeping it 100 with you, crash dummy. You'll go to the store for me, you'll take this pack for me, you'll go do this, go do that. It's nothing about progression. You're gonna catch 100 years fucking with the kid. So, not saying me. So you sit on these platforms to go, I want to hear what the big homies got to say because my son and my cousins and nephews is corporate and shit. Have you ever sat back to go, yo, why don't I get in their life? Bendito. Watch the Prince story. He was actually in his kid's life. Out of all the Killer B shit, part 2, that's why I did this on Prince, bro. He was in his kid's life. I'm just being fair, bro. I'm keeping it funky. Why Stevie Robinson went to jail for 25 years? Closeness. Yeah, exactly. Stevie Robinson, wise, is a prime example of what family's about. He did 20 years in the feds. 20 years between the feds and the state. Came home. His son is the #1 politician in New York, in Albany, New York, in the Chamber of Commerce. He's one of the top players in politics. His son. The age his son is, his father got more street gangster stories. So so what happens is, even though he was going, he had a family that point him in the right direction. A mother, a aunt, a grandmother, a uncle. No, you're gonna do this way. We don't show our kids nothing different, bro. We've normalized gang activity. We made it normal. Oh, yeah, my son is my nephew. He's mad baller. You okay with that? When you see the chaos that's on the news, when you see what's going on with the young boys, we all can learn something for the little niggas, but we have to lead the charge. I'd rather my kids crash doing something legal than crash and doing something illegal. Because they crash doing something legal, you can find something else legal to do. Crash doing something illegal, you're dead, you could be crippled, or you do 100 years. You're okay with that. Some of your niggas is okay with that. That's gangster shit to y'all. Shout out to Sean Washington. Because gang banging ain't about money no more. It's about crashing out. He said, dudes don't want no money, dudes want a reputation. They'll take 100 years with a reputation, then do 30 years on the job, have a 401k plan, have some type of insurance for their kids, 40 acres in the mule and some property. They'll take a reputation. Yes. Because that's how it's supposed to be. We as elders, we know better now. We know what the crash out could be. We came from this, and we're just trying to educate them what not to do. That's why I salute Preem and Prince for calling it. They're not glorifying the game, they're speaking about it. This is real, man. This might be one of my second realest shows I possibly did in a long time, man. Because it's about when you sit back and you get off this live. Damn, my nephew, he's bloodhound. The guy he's following got 30 years in the feds. At any given time, an order can be given from a nigga sitting in the secured area, and my son will catch 1,000 years. So let me go get my son and my nephew, or my stepson. Let me take him to the zoo. Let me show him how to be humble. You got kids that don't know how to be around other races because they're so gang. They don't know how to mix. Everything is, yo, what are you looking at? Yo, son, what's up? Yeah. It's just like back in the days. The only difference back in the days what saved a lot of us was the gods always made us think about something. There was always a God body somewhere that always just spit all this, the world is flat, yo, and this, that, and that, and how to eat and how to treat yourself. Some of our first nutritional speeches came from the gods. Don't eat pork, don't eat this, don't eat that. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. My right-hand man was a street dude who was raised 4 children after his wife died by himself, Oh, you know what I'm saying? That's salute to him. Salute to Sean Washington. Yo, listen, you're right, Sean Washington. Because that's what it boils down to, bro. So other than hustling, dudes learn other things in the street. God bless him, bro. But we're not gonna give him his accolades. No, we're gonna say, oh, he's a sucker. We're gonna find some dirt on him. We're gonna expose him for being a man, doing what a man's supposed to do. We'll rather expose anything he did that we could get our hands on. That's not how that's not how the game goes, bro. Everybody has a time in their life. Some dudes did drugs and cleaned up. Some dudes didn't do drugs, but did other foul situations. The first nutritional conversation I ever had about eating came on the corners. Yo, they had an impact on pork. A lot of dudes stopped eating pork because of they heard what the guards was talking about. They did their own due diligence. Okay, I'm not messing with that. You know what I'm saying? Salute. But we won't speak on that. We'll speak about all the robberies, the stick-ups, and the chains they snatched. We also learned other things. Dudes learned to pick up a book because if you didn't believe what he said, you went to the library. I used to go to the library on 96th Street. That was my public library. 96th Street in Park. I go to read. What was my son talking about? And it used to free my mind, bro. Because I read that book, then read another book, like everything a branch off. But then I have an intelligent conversation. So now when I see son, I'm blasting off. Yeah, son, but da 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 da. And that's how we began to build some type of intelligence on the street. That's how a lot of us built intelligence off the street. So now when somebody, not just a guard body, but somebody who has some intelligence to have a conversation, we can conversate back. We kept up on current events. We kept on conversations. Nelson Mandela. Nobody never speaks about Nelson Mandela. Rest in peace, Nelson Mandela. He spoke out the history shit yesterday. Nelson Mandela, where did he come from? I remember the conversation I heard about Reebok. I heard on the corners. Yo, don't buy Reeboks no more. They support apartheid in Africa. I heard that on the corners. I didn't read that in the New York Times. What? And then I see a special about apartheid before Mandela came home about how certain companies were supporting apartheid in South Africa. Because the only thing I knew about Africa was the show Shaka Zulu. Remember they used to show it on NBC and there's a bunch of guys in the jungle. The only other African movie I seen was Roots. And that was really in America. So now we got this apartheid and they're showing that South Africa isn't all jungles and zebras and tigers. I'm like, yo, that's history, bro. That made me pick a book up. So South Africa is more than just jungles. They made the show, I heard they made the show Shaka Zulu because I guess allegedly the Zulus chased the Italians out, was with the Italians or whoever went to where they was at, they basically won the war. They ran them out. Nelson Mandela came home. Salute to him, bro. He became the president, the first black man of color, legally in their little system, that was the president of South Africa. You know what I'm saying? I had a conversation with somebody yesterday. I said, you know what's so crazy? They flipped on us with the OJ thing, but dudes on the shoe was like, we felt OJ did that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? But that's just how we felt. Then you have these narratives being created. Oh, the blacks and the whites, they clashing because there might have been disputes on certain workplaces. But that wasn't all over the place. The dudes, it was a different time in America, man. Dudes felt Rodney King pain more than OJ's pain. Put it like that. You know what I'm saying? When we see what happened to Rodney King, was like, yo, they're crossing the line right now. You gotta keep in mind, police was killing men. Definitely revolutionaries. They thought you was part of the revolution. They were trying to kill you. They was trying to kill you. So why would you want your kids to grow up in the same shit you grew up in? down the line, I guess it turned into, you know what I'm saying? But it was just good to see that. A man did all that time in jail to come home and get the throne. That's inspiring to me. You know what I'm saying? Anything else came from that, that's their politics. I can't speak on their politics. I just got to see a chance I got to see. Remember when I was growing up, the Ayatollah Khomeini, he kicked out the Shah of Iran. That was the issue. That was the issue that came on the news every day. When the Ayatollahs kicked the Shah, because the Shah had a Western influence in Iran. Remember? They used to burn the American flag. I was like 12 years old. I mean, see them burning the American flag. Then you had this Iran-Iraq war, right? Remember? Iran-Iraq war. Saddam Hussein, who was doing business with England, I don't know what, with the oil, whatever the case may be at that point in time, something happened, he separated Iran. The Sunnis allegedly, and the other tribes go to, the Sunnis and the Shiites, they go to war. What came out of that? What potentially became the Ready Rock generation. Iran Contra, remember? Iran Contra. The drugs is being sold for the guns, for the purchase of guns, so the Iranians, it's as weird as it sounds, can go to war with the Iraqis. Then they got rid of the Shah. Boom, get out of here. And then that shit ended. You know what I'm saying? But y'all could do your own history lesson on this. If y'all, if I'm saying it right, do your own history. Read that. So look how events changed. When I was growing up, that was big. That and the Palestinians going at it in the Gaza and all that craziness. When I was growing up, 10, 11, 12, we used to watch the news. Piece of 050, China been moving. Get well, brother. That's what I remember. See, it wasn't cool to not have a conversation. It wasn't cool to be young and dumb. But somebody asks you a question, you can't go, oh, I don't know, I just want to be real. Huh? These are conversations we had in the lobby. Yo, son, it's crazy in Iran. The Shiites is wild. We didn't know the Shiite Muslim was. We thought all Muslims were Muslims because the only Muslims that we seen was the jail cats that came home from jail. In the optimal spots, all of them wasn't Muslim. A lot of them was Buddhists and all the other stuff. So the only time that we had a migration with the ox was when Aki come home, he's clean for 2 days with the kufi on his head, and then after the 4th day he bought 2 bags of dope and he throw the Quran and the kufi in the garbage can. So we was being educated through, because the only other credible part of Islam was the 5% nation and the Nation of Islam. But then they kept bringing up their power. That's when Farrakhan was on go. I ain't gonna lie to you. Farrakhan was on a million miles of going. The media did not want him speaking on no platform that was on national TV. The Farrakhan I got now is lightweight to the Farrakhan in our generation. You know what I'm saying? They built the army in Hawaii. They built the army, and believe that. I'm telling you, man, that's our generation we grew up in. They was inspiring, like, yo, son. They was pulling up. Because everything Farrakhan was talking about was crazy. It was real. Like, yo, son, Farrakhan. You see what Ice Cube did? He came Farrakhan. Chuck D and him. I got to meet, MC Ren. You know what I'm saying? MC Ren. You know what I'm saying? MC Ren, the same thing. It's the same thing, man. So with that being said, man, this show had a lot of, I got the part 3 coming out. I brought some paperwork to y'all. You see how stories, I'm trying to give you how same and similar. Henry Bolden, Isaac Bolden, Fat Cat, I read Prince's appeal. Boom, they're part of his appeal. Henry Bolden actually is in jail over the AZ situation. A parole officer did go to jail. Some POs went to jail. It's a different game. The streets have different rules and regulations. The best thing I can tell y'all is get in your kid's life. Want to be a legend in the legal world. Everybody don't have to be a street legend. When people say that Preem dropped the ball, I don't know. I don't know what was on his head. One thing I know is his friend died over basically $1,000, $1,500 over a car. It went from that to principles and morals, a situation happening, and then now that played a part to the man going to jail. But the crazy part is, why do dudes love keeping records? So now they used against you videos and boom, boom, boom. So we don't know what was going on. Maybe he felt they'll never find that stash house. That was the old school one. Maybe they'll never give me some quote. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they never thought they'd find that stash house. That's wrong. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. But I'm gonna say it's free Preem. I like the fact that they're not glorifying the homicides. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely enjoying that, man. And that's how you serve. That's how you say it to youth. You have a youth program, teach them something. Let them learn how to do the woodworking stuff. Learn things that people are doing today. Some agriculture, right? Things that are still need blue collar jobs. Learn things that they could do that's needed for today. We know that they're still doing construction. That's still a market. Things that make common sense. You know what I'm saying? They got the junior ROTC programs. Yo, why don't you join that? Why don't you join the school band? Why don't you do, you know what I'm saying? There's so many things to do in life. But I think we get stuck on, this is a conversation that me and Disco Baller had a conversation with, right? Now everybody sees Disco online. Disco crazy, he's going to yell and screaming, he's going to kill everybody. But Disco be saying some amazing shit to me, you know what I'm saying? He said, people want to be OGs so bad in the streets, is that they forget there's so much things to do in the world. And I'm like, whoa, you right, this people see. I talked to somebody, and I did so much in my life. I've been around rappers, I've been around Nicki Minaj, before Nicki Minaj, I was around this. But all these stories these dudes want to hear is my prison stories. This is society, and this ain't young kids. These is grown men who never been in jail. That's a part of the culture, and because my name rang bells, they want me to sit for 2-3 hours and entertain what they heard I was doing in jail. This is crazy. They don't know I got some trades, I did plumbing, none of that shit. Yo, Disco, you ever learn plumbing in jail? You got any certificates? They don't care about that. Only thing they care about, and that's when I'm getting a listen from a man who did over 20 years in jail. Like, damn, son. Dudes would rather have you around just to glorify the game than to speak about the successes that became behind the scenes. That's why I check out We Locked In, because they talk about a lot of great things. About, everything but the game. Everything about life. You get information 050 China Brim movement. That's information. You want a false flag? I got you. This is the paperwork. This is the guy who's leading y'all, a guy who's going to tell again if we get a chance. But he's going to drive you out of hell to keep it secret. He's going to create these wars because he want to keep it secret. Your babies are in trouble because y'all following dudes, y'all following a trend that has no value to it. So this is a Supreme Team Week. Check out Ziggy Black Feed the Wolves. Shout out to Chapo. Shout out to Uncle Wop, Dave Bing from 118, Uncle Charlie from 118, Black from 118, you know what I'm saying? Sutton Boulevard, Sutton Side. Corey Lashes, that's my man Cuzzo. H Money Bags from Sutton Side. My man Butter from Fox, the twin. Family, man. Keep like family on the South Side. I could be out there drunk, sauce, Nothing happens to me. Family, man. Even people, you got Pee Wee little brother. He out there bugging though. But Pee Wee little brother, rest in peace, Pee Wee from 118th and something. Pee Wee is the individual that tied the situation with that. He allegedly, killed the guy at the gas station. That's what we're talking about. He's a legend from 118th. I know his family, his sister, his brother. Good people, good-hearted people. The Poppy store, right there, on both Poppy stores and the Ox store. The picture I got, the picture on Fox, and you got the one on Fox on 118th. Those are my Poppies. The barbershop, shout out to my man who owned the barbershop. My other store by the old funeral home where that store's at, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the Yankee fan, the Dominican. Come on, bro. That was the neighborhood, Foch. Shout, you know what I'm saying? It has a lot of history other than gang banging, man. Some dudes is family, man. Some people were normal. It's crazy when you kill somebody, if you allegedly kill somebody in the line of work that you're in, and then it's like, these guys are like, you know people got loved ones, but this is what comes with the game. But that's not what the system says. The system says you break the law, you're going to jail. Doesn't matter who you kill. So you keep that in mind, man. With that being said, Feliz Navidad. Shout out to my man Ed Medina. Everybody that woke up this morning, salute to all the wolves. I'm going to do this every day. I'm doing this every day for you guys. Gotta feed the wolves, feed the streets. Right now I'm doing the Supreme team. I got something with the Larry Hoover, the Cato thing. I had to push it to the side because I didn't realize that Nas documentary came out. Check out those appeals on your own. Let your kids read what an appeal is, and they'll realize, yo, let me get out the game while I got a chance. These dudes just telling on each other. Dad, aren't they killers? Yeah. You see what even killers tell. Let them read this. Damn, man, we do the right thing. So how do you get their mind different? You take them to places. They learn carpentry. They got programs. Google it. Yo, what are your parts? You ain't got no funny. Go get your GED. Take them to school. You know what? I'm gonna take them. If you go to, my man made sure his kid, one of his kids graduated, and she took him to school every day. What kid don't love that? Yo, who could my dad take me to school? He went to school and he picked him up. He said, yo, cause that's what I missed. He told me his story. My dad died when I was young. I was mad. I wanted my father to take me to school, pick me up. You know how it feels as a kid, you come outside and you see your parent outside like, yo, come on, get in the car. So that's what I did with my daughter, or my stepdaughter. I'm the one that picked her up from school. There's a parent outside. There's not a friend, an uncle, or aunt, a cousin, a babysitter. It's dad. Show you care. Just like you show your homies you care, show your kids you care. With that being said, shout out to East Harlem, Spanish Harlem. And that's how a lot of Latinos is winning, because their parents showed that they cared. San Francisco DeSales, you see all the mothers out there. All the fathers out there, yo, I'm getting my kids. There's a couple of my friends that have kids in St. Francis. Yo, I'll be right back. We're going to get my kids from school, bro. That wasn't embarrassing. My man John father owned a store. He used to walk past his father every day. You think he crossed the street to go, my dad, let's go around the corner. You think he did that? Nah, me and my man John, he'd stop, hug his father, throw him out. Father tell nigga, don't get in trouble, don't embarrass me, don't embarrass us. Those are the rules you had. Your parents told you, don't embarrass my household with the shit you're doing outside. Those are the rules. Before you engage in the street. So now you in the street, I can't do nothing to embarrass my circle or embarrass myself. Let's take it to the top, man. Love ourselves. Let's speak more about ourselves. Even if we did more fucked up shit than good shit, speak about yourself in a good manner. Do something different that didn't happen for you, that made you hate, that made you have animosity. Do that. Do that. Try that. You can sleep a whole lot better, you heard? Am I right? Do that. My man, he died. His mother smoked all the crack in the world. I'm not saying he died, but he respected his mother because his mother still was there. No matter how much drugs she did, she still came around. That nigga used to leave us. We go, my mom, son. That was real, son. Like, he had no animosity. That's my mother. That's my mom's, bro. She's going through something. I don't care. That's my mother. He bring him chips. He glorified that shit, bro. Let's stop. Let's bring that back on the ones. Let's stop having an excuse. I gotta fuck the baby mother so I don't, or I gotta fuck up this and this and the third. Some shit you gotta go to court for, okay? I can't fuck with you going to court, but some of y'all niggas be implying that's the snitching rule. Y'all bugging. You just don't want to be involved. Get involved, man. Let's stop embarrassing ourselves. Yeah, we embarrass ourselves sometimes. Obviously, listen to this Prince documentary. He wasn't embarrassing himself when it came to his household. He wasn't bringing that to his household. Just like we hear about John Gotti. He wasn't bringing that to his household. Countless other mob figures. We hear about the life thing now. They was good dads going to the pool swings and all this other shit. Like, there was nothing embarrassing. With that being said, I appreciate y'all. Check out Showtime, Nas. This is episode 2. And check out everybody's content on this Supreme Team thing. Old New York, you heard? Let's get back to a word from my sponsors. I had y'all hostage all morning, but I gotta do this, you know what I'm saying? You had me up here early, man. Gotta do this for the people, you know what I'm saying? We got Trendy Exotics in Brooklyn, New York. See, Trendy Exotics is on Trendy Exotics, 157 Fulton Street in Brooklyn, New York. Trendy Exotics. And then we have the Hill Liquor Store. Black owned. All this is black owned. All this is the black owned liquor store. Black owned African Americans. Even Trendy Exotics, African Americans own it. So get in tune with that. They're on the Hill Wine and Liquor. Tell Brooklyn Ice, no, go Brooklyn Ice. Z Black sent me. He gonna smile, man. He might even give you a discount. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? It's a word from my sponsors, the Hill Liquor Store. Hold on. You know what I'm saying? I put that in, y'all can do the rest. Start doing the Googling. Black owned business in Trendy Exotics. It's on Fulton Street. Y'all get the Googling. Y'all get the Googling. They got the cannabis shit. They got the cannabis situation going on. You know what I'm saying? The liquids, whatever. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm just word for my sponsors. Go in there again. Brooklyn Ice. See, Z Black sent you. They'll get in touch with them. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, have a blessed morning. Shout out to White Free Southern Bell for allowing me and allowing us to do this live. You know what I'm saying? I've been up early this morning. Shout out to Clubhouse. Everybody speaking. I got a lot of people with this room speaking about the documentary, checking it out. I just like to enjoy the fact that I'm able to pass the word like many other people are passing the word. So with that being said, Old New York, shout out to Queens. You see the sponsors, shout out to the sponsors. You know what I'm saying? That's how you support your people. Shout out to the sponsors. Trendy Exotics, Hill Liquor Store. You know what I'm saying? Brooklyn, New York. Tell Brooklyn Ice Z Black sent you. Black owned businesses, African American owned businesses. Whatever you want to mix that up. You know what I'm saying? That being said, shout out to Spanish Harlem, Washington, Lexington Houses. Rest in peace, Dave Ho. Shout out to the PT 131 crew. Shout out to my man in South Jamaica, Queens, most definitely. Rest in peace, Gigi from Farmers at 113. Rest in peace to Deshaun from Hollis. Shout out to my man, Dakota, Bags, Brooklyn, Flatbush Massive, Bigger, Flatbush Massive. My man 6, Killer B from Albany Projects, The Villa. Showing our unconditional love. We're back here, Old New York. 540, we in the building. My man 5 from East Harlem, 5, the host of the year, you heard? Yeah, with that being said, I love y'all. Peace, love, and unity. Stay up, you heard?